What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Who's Reality Cooking podcast. I'm so excited to have Sarah Fry of season 13, the most recent season of MasterChef, with me here today. Sarah, how are you?
Hi, thanks for having me on. I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you for coming on. You were just such a ray of sunshine on the show. Just so happy and so much fun, and you're great on camera. So thank you so much for making time.
Thanks. Thank you.
Um, what I love to do in on this podcast is I love to kind of give the listeners and the people watching a little bit of a backstage pass. So what I want them to do is to kind of get to know you so they can cheer you on even more. And I feel like it makes the show so much more fun. So I
Yeah.
wanted to find out from you, where did your love from cooking come from? How long have you been cooking for? And just kind of start there and just get to know your cooking background.
Totally. So my love of cooking, I think, probably originated with my love of food and eating. My grandma, her name's Mary, and she was on the show with me for auditions, and she was like my number one original inspiration. Her husband was Italian, so she always would make like Italian surprise nights. And my mom passed away when I was younger. I was 13, and she was my mom's mom. We have always loved like cooking and eating and feeling meals, and we still do. I just recently moved back to town to be near my family. We were in Arkansas for a while, and now we're back in Missouri. But like every month, we do a big family dinner, and Granny and I cook for everybody. So that's just like that. I mean, I think it's just like a family affair. I feel like you're either a food family or you're not, and we are.
So what did these Italian nights look like? Is there a specific dish that kind of stands out to you?
So we actually, when I married my husband, she made me like a family recipes book and like printed all the recipes out and wrote stories and stuff. One of the things she used to make we called it jamazuma. And it's like egg noodles and sausage, ground beef, cheeses, peppers, all sorts of spices, stuff like that. And we still like if somebody's sick or whatever, some of my older neighbors have like health issues, and I always make them a pan of jamazuma. And she's like, I have no idea where the name came from. I don't know where it originated. It's been a family recipe. So I still make that quite a bit. And then, like I said, my grandpa and my mom were Italian. So we just have like those roots. My grandma and I have really gotten into sourdough. So we always make like fresh sourdough for garlic bread. We make like buns and stuff like that. And now since the show, I started making a lot of like fresh pasta. So we're always like making pasta, making sauces. I'll freeze sauce to use later on. But yeah, that's I would say one of our favorites. And then like just a big full salad. We always have a salad at dinner. We're a big salad family. So salad with the homemade dressing. Grammy always did that. So now I do that.
That's so great. And I love that she was on the show and I kind of let you know before for anybody listening, we chat before we jump on here and we kind of, touch base on a few different things and make sure that Sarah's ready. And I'd let you know that I had read some interviews. There's lots of interviews online. And one of the interviews said that you guys all have a group chat with season 13 of MasterChef and people regularly check in to ask, how's your grandmother doing? Do they still
Yeah,
do that?
it was so funny. So her birthday is coming up this July. Everybody loved Grammy. They call her Grammy. Everybody loved her. And because we were filming auditions, they make it look like it's one night because you wear the same outfit over and over and over. But it was a week long. And Grammy is sassy. Like, that's one of her most lovable qualities, but she is sassy. And they just loved that. Like, she will say something, she'll say it to your face, and she'll look twice about it. But her birthday's coming up in July. She's going to be 80. And all of them everybody's planning to come for her birthday party.
Really? Everyone from MasterChef?
Yeah, it's like all of my friends, a lot of people from auditions, because there were 40 of us that made it to live auditions. And so we've all kept in contact. They're friends with like Granny on Instagram. Like they always are checking in. They'll text and be like, how's Granny doing? Like, what's she up to? So that's the mixed stuff. And it was so fun to meet everybody's families because you just like one person face to face is like so fun and you get to know them, but like meeting somebody's family, like you really get to know them. And like Rainy is like such a part of me that it was so fun to like introduce her to people It's spelled Lambs.
I love that. I love that Grammy's so famous in the MasterChef community that everyone's coming out for her birthday. That's so cool. Very cool.
Correct. Well, huh. It's so fun.
So I want to kind of talk about, since you brought up auditions, what was it like getting picked for the show? How were you approached, or did you go to a casting call? How did all of that work?
Yeah, so I think like I really leaned into cooking during COVID. I mean, we were home a lot. My son was born with a birth defect, so I kept him home a lot. He was always high risk for like infections and stuff like that. So during COVID, I like super leaned into cooking. And I mean, I didn't have a huge following, maybe like 1,500 people total. But I would like almost every night just post what I had been working on. I post pictures, like recipes that I had used. And I got a message. I think it wasn't last. It was 20, probably around September. And it was in my spam folder. It was somebody like that I didn't know. And they said, "Hey, I'm a recruiter for MasterChef. Found your profile from hashtags online. Would you want to apply to get on a show?" I was like, "Oh, that seems crazy. It's probably spam." I deleted it. A couple days later, I got another message from a different recruiter. Same thing. I was like, "That's so crazy. Like, clearly that's not real. Like I don't have a big following. I don't have any like history of cooking. I mean, and I've said this over and over, and it's still true. Like, I'm a home cook. I cook for my family. Like, I've never done anything direct. I've worked in restaurants like as a waitress, but I've never like made food for anybody else. So again, I deleted it. I was like, so weird. Then I had a business account because I had worked like on a couple of like influencer things for work before I quit working in like corporate. So my phone number and email and stuff on there. A couple days later, I got a phone call, and it was from an unknown number. I answered it. I'm like, "This is Sarah." And they were like, "Hey, we sent you a couple messages on Instagram. We are with MasterChef. Loved your profile. Found you through hashtags. Would you be interested in applying for the show?" And I was like, "Oh, like I've just been deleting those. I thought that was a scam, like, sure, I'll apply, whatever." Not thinking anything of it. So I filled out the application online. That's just on the MasterChef website. And then the next day I get a call, and I talked to this recruiter a couple times, but he's like, "Hey, loved everything you wrote. You've moved on to the next round." I was like, "This is crazy." Like, he's like, "Would you fill out like the long form application?" So he sent it to me. It took me like 3 hours to fill out. I mean, it's just like tons of background information, like how I started cooking, personal information about me, all sorts of stuff. And one of the things like he had mentioned later on, as I talked to him, he was like, "We want somebody that like can cook, of course, but like we also want people that America is going to love, like people that are going to connect." And so he's like, like you have a really great personality. Like, we need to make sure you can cook. And so I was like, "Okay." So he's like, "Let me send you." So I had all these videos that I had to send. I mean, I probably sent 20 videos. I mean, like hours, hours, hours. The first one was probably, it took me half a day. They were like, "Go to your farmer's market where we normally shop. Test them to record you, show us around like your town, where you live, where you're from, your kitchen, and then show us like how you would make a meal. Like, what would you make? Like, where would you buy the ingredients? All of that." So I like recruited my sister, my youngest sister. I was like, "Hey, would you record me? I'm sending in this video." So he sent that, and then the video requests just kept coming. I've given and it's like, "Hey, we need these 10 videos by next week," and it'd be like spatchcock with chicken, cook a steak to medium rare, or, like make a pie crust, make a pie. And so I'm making all these videos, and I mean, like, it's time consuming and it's expensive because I'm like,
Yes.
I don't usually make, 10 meals a week. I usually make like for my family. So I don't like getting overwhelmed. I'm trying to do it all the time, setting it in. And it's like over the next couple months, like that's what I'm doing. And I'm finally like, "Hey, this is a lot of videos. This is very time consuming. It's very expensive. Like, what are the next steps? Like, what should I expect?" And they just were like, "Hey, you'll hear from us students." So it's like I get periodic emails like, "You've made it to the next round. You're moving forward. Like, you're in the next group." And I'm still like, it just seems very surreal. And so it was in December, but they're like, we're going to set you up with like some psychological evaluations. You're going to talk to like a therapist, make sure, you know, you don't have anything mentally that's going to keep you from being on TV, or like your record, like anything in your background, you know? So it's like, they check out, I'm sure you know. So that was when it really started seeming real to me, because they set me up with this psychiatrist, and he had been the psychiatrist for the O.J. Simpson case. So I Googled him because they sent me his name and like this link. And so I Googled him and I'm like, this is crazy. But I'm like, the dude, I'm face to face. And I'm like, hey, this is real. Like, this is a celebrity psychiatrist. And they ask you, I mean, outrageous questions, like about self-harm, like hurting others, you know, all of that stuff. And then in December, I get an email that's like, you made it to the next round. We want you in LA, January 4th. Pack for 10 and eat. So I'm like, what? So I've been talking to my husband because we have a son that's in the kindergarten. I've been a stay-at-home parent since he was born. And I'm like, so like he's my, you know, like responsibility. That's my job. I was like, he goes to a legal private school. I have to take him and pick him up. I make all the meals for the family, you know, like I do all of that. So I'm talking to my husband, like, is this gonna be okay with us? He works remote, which is great. And he's like, yeah, we'll make it work. We'll figure it out. And we had moved back to, we're in Springfield, Missouri now. And so we have family nearby, which is great because they were able to help a lot. So they said, you can pack 2 suitcases of a carry-on, pack them for 10 weeks, like send us pictures of your outfits. So I should have been in LA January 4th.
Oh my gosh, what a story.
Precautions too. I mean,
I bet.
They sent us all tests before we left, had to test negative before we left. You test, then they send you masks and everything. You test as soon as you get there. The bus picks you up. You test at the hotel. And at that time, I think there were probably like 80 or 90 of us.
Wow. Wow. That's.
Yeah. We were quarantined for 3 or 4 days. And so you're just in this hotel in LA by yourself, have no idea what's going to happen next.
Oh,
crazy.
man. Oh, man. Well, I do have to ask, so you had mentioned that they found you through hashtags. And what were your go-to hashtags at the time? That way, if somebody's trying to get found, what hashtags would you recommend using?
For me, and like I wasn't even thinking about it then, but like I was because at the time I think you could use like 30 hashtags, and that's what everybody's like, use all your hashtags. So I would just type in like hashtag dinner, hashtag homemade, hashtag made with love, you know, like just normal things like you think of when you think of like food or dinner, or like the ingredients, you know, if it's like something specific, like I would type, like I would hashtag the ingredient, like not really thinking anything of it. Like I had a couple of posts that it's like, oh, they must have ended up on the For You page because they got 200 likes, you know? Like, it just wasn't a thing. I was still just, I mean, I put a food post on, but I was just posting pictures of my family, my cats, and then house. Like, I just kind of, you know, like just like a stay-at-home mom.
Wow. Yeah, that's good to know, and a little daunting to think that just posting your dinner and a couple of hashtags might get you a cool message in your spam. So everybody check your spam today, because you never know.
Totally. I still am like mind blown that that's how it happened.
Wow, that is so interesting. And I have spoken to so many people on so many different shows, and your story mirrors so many people who did Is It Cake, where and it might be very often these production teams, they use the same casting people, so who knows? But it was the same thing where they just thought it was spam, and they blew it off, and they blew it off, and they blew it off, and now they're like, here, and they won. And it's like, wait. It's so interesting how they're finding people now, and for so different than it used to be as well. So well, I'm just
a mix. I mean, like, we had a lot of people that assigned. There were some people out of auditions that had applied for the last 10 seasons. You know, it's like there were people that had like broke all their life around being on MasterChef. You know, and so like, and it is kind of intimidating because you get there and like once you're let out of your room from quarantine. We were able to spend time with like the other people that were there for the show. And it's like you eventually like we're showing, you know, we're like finding each other on Instagram, and it's like some people, I mean, like Colby, for instance, like the first guy I met, Colby, He's like, yeah. I said, what do you do? And he's like, well, I quit my job. I do like cooking on social media. And I'm like, oh, okay. Let me look you up. I've been cooking on TikTok and Instagram. And he's got 1 million followers total. And I'm like, what am I doing here? Like this is crazy. Like, and so I had a lot of like, and I still do. I mean, I have a lot of like imposter syndrome, because I'm like, you're like, what are you doing now? And I'm like, I'm still cooking for my family. Like, that's my number one.
Oh wow. Well, I totally get it. And we had briefly talked about I did a show 10 years ago, and we all have the imposter syndrome. Even the big chefs are still like, wait, I don't belong here. In fact, the show that I was on, the winner, it was the night before the finale. We were sitting and talking. It was probably our first like one-on-one conversation, just, just chatting at the bar, and she was like total imposter syndrome. She's like, I don't belong here, I don't belong here, and then she wins. And so I think that's
Oh,
so natural. So you absolutely did belong, because no matter where you're at, no matter how many followers you have, or if you go home first, or if you win, everybody's got that imposter syndrome. So
yes.
you
I mean, that's a good reminder too, especially for people that are wanting to go on.
yeah.
Because it's like, I mean, Grant that won our season. It's like he, was like, I think he was doing sales for a brewery and stuff, and I mean, he's an amazing chef. But when I think I found him on Instagram. He had a couple hundred followers, but his plates were beautiful, And that's the thing too, is like we all have such different strengths. Like I don't cook the same way that Grant cooks. Like
Right.
I'm still a good cook, but I'm a home cook girl. Like I'm making casseroles and it tastes good, but it's like stuff that people in my area eat. And I think I said that on the show is like we don't have Michelin star restaurants. We don't have Gansbeer nominated restaurants in Springfield. It's like this is what people here eat. So there's like a good reminder that like not everybody has to have like these little. I'm like I couldn't serve. I've said this before, like a tiny little appetizer. People in Springfield would be like, "Where's the rest of it?"
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, why don't you share your first dish? Because I believe that was when you said like it's got to be a big portion. Tell us
Yes.
about the first dish, the dish that got you your apron.
Yeah, so before audition, well, like before we went to LA, they had said like, "Hey, I have a few like hometown recipes in mind for when you come on the show," and we didn't know that the theme this year was United Tastes of America. And so, if you watch the show, it's like we're divided into the 4 regions, and so they're saying like, keep a few recipes in mind, like things that unite that are really hometown based, like. So one of the things here, and I had talked to like some friends and family kept it pretty low key because you're not like they get to a point where they're like, okay, don't tell anybody that you're doing the show now. Like it's time to stop talking about it. But I mean, at the time I was doing social media for like a local boutique, so I had to quit that. And I'm, like, yeah, they're asking for these recipes, the content recipes. Everybody that I talked to, my husband, my family, they're like, you have to make. And so I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's not the most like impressive dish that I can make by any means. I mean, it's pretty like low key. And so it originated here in Springfield. The man that created it, his name was David Leong. He came to Springfield in the 50s, opened up an Asian restaurant, and dealt with a lot of like racial issues then. Because Springfield's like very Midwest. They'd grown a lot, but like for a long time, I mean, it was just white people, like white farmers. Like, so when he came in here, he opened up a restaurant. It wasn't doing well. He started, I mean, there was a lot that happened, but he started going to other local restaurants, and he's like, every restaurant has like a fried chicken and brown gravy recipe. So this was his spin on that. So it's like, a flavor. I use ginger garlic breaded chicken with a brown gravy sauce. I mean, a lot again, like soy sauce, stuff like that, fried rice, and that is the dish. And so if you watch the show, I mean, some of them liked it. Gordon was like, it's so plain. It's just chicken and gravy. And I'm like, that's what it is. Like that's my hometown dish. But every restaurant here, Asian restaurants, yes, but like even just like your run of the mill, like everyday restaurant will have some spin on a sprinkle soft cashew chicken. Like they make like cashew chicken poutine. Like they just, they do burritos, salads. They do it in every form now because it's a Springfield staple.
Oh my gosh, now I'm so hungry. I need a Springfield chicken, cashew chicken poutine. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, that
I
sounds.
know. And I still trying to do the mix. Now I love a poutine,
Oh,
no matter
yum.
what.
Yeah.
But I mean, I made that and it got me my apron. But at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, this is not like the most beautiful dish I could make. This isn't the most like exquisite, like impressive dish. But it was very hometown. And then we found out about the regions thing. So I'm like, okay, like it played out well.
So did you know about the regions thing before you cooked, or was it after you cooked?
So we had already let them know like what we were going to be cooking before, and then when they came in the first time we saw the judges, and so there were signs up, like, and you see it in the show, there were like the big lit signs of like west, midwest, south, so you kind of have an idea. But then the first time the judges come in for the when the live auditions begin, and I mean it's like that, it's like that's the filming, they come out, they announce it, we're all shocked, because of the previous seasons haven't been like that. And so then you're like, your brain starts like moving. You're like, what does this mean? Like, is this teams? Like, what's going to happen? So, and it was a surprise. Like, you see the surprise on our faces when they announce.
Yeah, well, I thought it was such an interesting, different way to show MasterChef, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the next season, which is coming out real soon. Probably when this airs, it'll probably already be out. So, well, I first of all, it looked delicious. So, and just the fact that you got the rice looking so pretty, and that it looked so good. I wanted to eat it. I wanted to like lick the screen. It was
Oh, thank
it.
you. Yeah, it's so much fun. Like when I'm home, I just spend as much time as I want. I relax. I have wine. I listen to music there. It's like the time crunch is the hardest thing. And sometimes I
Abs-
get to like, oh, that's quite a while, but it goes quick.
It really does. Especially, were they like asking you questions as you were going on, or asking you to, kind of communicate what you were doing?
Yes, and I am like diagnosed ADHD, and that was hard for me. Like talking while still cooking, because the kid had to be like, keep talking, keep cooking, keep talking, keep put, and it's like you're looking at them, you're looking down. I kind of get well where it looks natural, but you're just kind of like it's chaos in here.
Yeah.
So, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
it was fun. It was interesting.
Well, you did great. You looked great. You looked like you had it all under control. So, at least from this end, you were
Yeah.
killing it.
And like watching it back, like I watched like my audition the other day. I was sending it for like another show thing that somebody messaged me about. And I watched it again and I'm like, man, I seem so much more calm and confident than I felt.
Gotcha. Well, I'm sure part of that was editing, but I'm sure a lot of that was you and just, your confidence in your dish, or at least, that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Well, what I wanted to do is kind of go through some of the different episodes and some of the different challenges. And for anyone listening or watching, I always send the questions ahead of time,
Mhm.
but I forgot these ones. So I hope you're okay with me
Oh,
asking just
yeah,
to kind of.
yeah. I'm like, I was trying to think.
Okay.
I had the questions. It's been, a year and a half since we filmed almost. So,
Yeah, well, so the second episode that you cooked on was the state fair food. So what did you make for, the fair food?
oh, yeah, you probably saw some other interviews too. During the filming of the first episode, and I had been kind of sick. It wasn't COVID. We were being tested every day for COVID. But I developed horrible conjunctivitis in both eyes. Horrible. I mean, like swollen shut, couldn't see. And so it was the day of, during filming is when I started, and they edited it out, but I had a towel on my shoulder, and I was just like, my eyes were drooping, they were watering, super sick. And so that, like, after that, I said, you really don't see my dish. And in the next couple episodes, I was still recovering. So for that one, and my family friends were like, "What'd you make? Like, what was it we didn't see?" And I'm like, I had specifically asked them, "Please try and edit me out of these episodes because I could wear makeup. I just look like I look sick. Like, and you don't want to be." And that's a lot of the comments on Reddit are like, "Why do they?" Why is their hair? Because as soon as you start the episode, you come in and you look the same every day, so people remember you episode to episode. They do your hair
Right.
the same way, they do your makeup the same way. So as soon as it starts filming, you're supposed to put up your hair. Everybody's like, why are you doing that? So they edited a lot of it out. That day for the state fair dish, I made a sweet potato and sausage. I'm trying to remember. Sweet potato and sausage covered like roasted, like a fire roasted sabotage. And for
Yum.
me, I've never been to a state fair. Mine was like a spin on a dish we had at Silver Dollar City, which was a big theme park we have in Branson, Missouri. And so that was like that's exactly what my mind went to. So I did some like deep fried like purple potatoes. I'm trying to remember something. Oh, I did like a maple and squash puree. Like it's the bottom. So yeah, it was good. I mean, it turned out it was really colorful, but you don't get to see it because it was really thick.
Well, that was really nice of them to edit you out because, 10 years ago, they would have been even closer in your face and
Yeah,
like zooming in on your eye. And that's so nice to hear that they had your back when it came to editing.
they were
Um,
amazing. I
yeah.
mean, we really like everybody we worked with, the producers, the directors, the cast, like they call them the cast wranglers, they're all just like so down to earth, like just like normal people. It was really fun to do. I mean, it was high stress, but we had a great time, and they were all very considerate and like just so easy to work with.
So good to hear. That's just, yeah, it was not like that 10 years ago.
Oh my
I will like the
god!
Wranglers were nice, but we were worker bees,
Yeah,
there to just, for them to get anything they needed to get. And I'm so glad as I've been working on this podcast, it's kind of evolved because at first I started out where it's like, well, this is your chance to tell it like it really was
uh,
because of the way we were edited so badly 10 years ago. And now it's like, but no, now it's just everything's happy. Everything's a great experience. Yeah, there's going to be hiccups here or there. You're going to get
yeah.
sick but the fact that they have your back, it makes me so happy as someone who, had like PTSD from her time.
Too, and like you're mic'd all day long, and some of the days like, we're there 14 or 16 hours, and you're like, are they listening? Like, and they say like, we're not gonna like post you in the bathroom with the microphone. Like and they tell you that up front. You're still just like, man, like what are they listening to? Like, can I
Yep.
talk correct? Like, but then another thing too, I was gonna mention, and I haven't talked about this yet. Um, in September when the finale aired, a bunch of us, especially from the Midwest, went to watch the finale with Grant. So he had a big party. Kyle was there. I'm sure you remember Kyle. He's so funny.
Yes.
Kyle was there. Lizzie, Colby, Brent. I mean, there were a bunch of us there. I think there were like 10 or 12. And on my way to meet up with the group, I got a phone call. I'd missed it. It was in my purse. I listened to a voicemail that I got, and it was one of the like casting directors. And he had called and left me a message, and he sounded really emotional. And I had talked to him since. I mean, it had been since like December of January since I heard from him. And he was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know, like, I have loved watching you guys this season. Like, when the other casting directors and I went into this, and our aim this season was to find really caring, down to earth, empathetic people to host on the show. And he's like, and you guys have like totally fulfilled that. Like, you guys were everything we hoped for. And I'm like crying listening to it. I get there. I'm like, I'm still upset about listening to it because there's a voicemail. I mentioned it. Kyle and a couple other people were like, I just had the same call. And so they're like, did he seem like upset to you? And so I called him back again. I was like, hey, I'm not going to say hi, but I said, hey, like we're chatting, you called all of us. Just wanted to make sure you're okay. Like, you seem really emotional. And he was like, oh my gosh, he's like, this is what I mean. Like, you guys are so empathetic. He was like, no, he's like, it just makes me emotional knowing that, like, you guys are really good people that we put on TV. Like, you're not just there for fame, you're not there for viewers. Like, you're there and, like, you love each other, support each other. And I have not forgotten. Like, that just was so special to me because a lot of times you watch these shows and you wonder, like, what the people are like in real life. And so that was like just so special to me. And especially that he called and said that and he called all of us, and like to reassured us. So when you said that, it's like that's kind of heartbreaking to hear because we really had like a great experience.
That is so great. And it's a progression. They have grown and they have evolved in these shows and I was happy to take the hits 10 years ago if that meant that you had a really good experience. So, it kind of it I would say don't make it
I wish you
heartbreaking.
had
It's Oh no, hey, I'm here. I have a podcast. I have 4 cookbooks. I got what I needed out of the taste. I'm good. But yeah, it makes me so happy to see that, it's kind of like how they say, every time a woman, makes it to a higher level in business or in politics, or like they always say, she never would have gotten here if it wouldn't have been for the women before them. And, these shows would not have evolved into these loving, wonderful environments if they had not, started out the way
That's a
they
good point.
did.
Yeah. I mean, I
So,
think like generationally, like, we're improving every generation, which
yeah.
is, good. Like you said, it's like we put in a lot of effort and work and time. And so it's good to hear that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm happy to have you guys, standing on the backs of us. Just
Well, we want to girl.
yeah. As long as they're treating you well, I am happy. So with the Apple mystery box in the next episode, were you still super sick? Like, were you in that one a lot?
That one I have started. So as soon as we stopped filming the Safe Fair Challenge, they said be the urgent care. He
Oh
put me
gosh.
on, I got on like oral antibiotics and antibiotics for my eyes. So I was doing a little bit better that day. Still red, minimal makeup. I think I don't really have ton of makeup to begin with, but like no mascara, it's like to keep it preserved. And I took advantage of taking to the store because I had to throw away all my makeup and
Oh
start over.
yeah. Yeah. Oh my
So,
gosh.
yes, I was feeling a lot better. I mean, they filmed it pretty quickly. I mean, I think that was 2 days later. So, yes, the Apple Challenge was a total surprise. I mean, you go in and you get stealing for all this kind of, because some of them in the past, it's like been like lobsters, like it's living things, and you have
Yeah.
no idea what it's going to be. So that was super fun. That was my first mystery box, and it was really fun.
Well, I loved how they had you guys open it up and the apples went everywhere. And my first thought is somebody's gonna break their neck. Like, did they have to like stop you guys, rush in and clean them all up? What happened?
Okay, what am I going
And
to? That's when they chose you could either make savory or sweet.
yes,
Okay, yeah.
yes.
So you're kind of thinking, I'm thinking like, okay, what's the savory dish? What's the sweet dish?
What did you end up making for that one?
So that one I made, and I make this a lot at home. It's like one of my favorite meals. There, I think I do the stuff. Some tried to squash. I'm trying to recall. Usually, you're either an acorn squash or sweet potatoes, stuffed with like roasted sausage, apples, cranberries, pecans. Usually with a wild rice. I don't think that. I think. Oh, I made a side salad there because I used apples in my side salad. I sliced and then sliced julienne's apples and then used apple cider vinegar for the dressing. Because I tried to use apples as much as I could. And that was good. Again, I don't remember if they tasted it or not. I wouldn't have tasted it because I was still recovering. But I was in the top three or the bottom three, and I kept like hoping for that. But that one was fun because I knew exactly what I was going to make as soon as I saw apples, and I knew exactly. One of my other dishes that I had like thought about a lot was I make like a pumpkin cupcake, like a layer cake, and I was like, I'm going to switch that out for like applesauce. But
Nice.
if I need a sweet, so that one I felt good about because then I automatically knew what I was going to make.
Sounds amazing. And then the next one was Trial by Fire, and you guys were actually at I believe it was in Ventura, the firefighters
Training academy.
training academy. What was that like?
So horrible. I mean, it's so stressful. You get on the bus, and I think our call time, like lobby call time, was like 3:30 in the morning. So you go down. We're ready. We've got hair and makeup. They tell you what outfit to wear because you had sent them pictures. So we were all dressed, and then we drive. And it was probably an hour from us. We rode the bus. We had no idea where we're going, and then we pull up to this fire academy. You had breakfast there. They touch up your hair and makeup. And you can see the surprise when they show that episode. You walk out, and then this building car pile blows up. I mean, huge. And then you see the judges pull up, and they get out and tell you what's going on. But it's like, and you kind of hear like, we're cooking for firefighters today. Like, what's the challenge going to be? But that was a hard day.
It looked hard.
We were, I think how, and I cried. I cried every single day. And I'm not a crier, but I mean, it was just emotionally like a strain on me. And so in that episode, like I cried. I think I would. I mean, I cried before we even got judged. And somebody comes up to me with a microphone and they're like, why are you crying? And I'm like, it's just like, it feels good to be done. Like it was so high stress. And I think it was like 2 or 3 hours that we were cooking. And we got there in the morning and it was freezing in the morning. And then by the afternoon it was sunny. We all were sunburned. Like, it was just a hard day.
Oh man. Wow. And Gordon threw food as he tends to do.
That was crazy. I mean, you see it on TV with all these shows, but that was like in real life watching Gordon throw food and get so upset. Like it's very clearly it's passion. And like I mean it's a television show. But that was not like stage. It's like he comes up and at one point like he yelled at me. I forget what I was working. Oh, I had been off the Kasha. And then after we finished with the Kasha, Savannah and I were just like helping out in different areas. And I had been making more chimichurri. And then I look up and the whole room's up at the front with Gordon and he's staring at me with his hand up and had been yelling, Earth to Sarah. And so like still I'm like mortified by that.
Oh man.
He's like, Earth to Sarah.
I've heard he's really actually sweet in person. Is he sweet or is he just super intimidating? Like, what's it like being in the same space as him?
Yeah, I mean, he's intimidating for sure. And that's the thing is, like, I'm not easily intimidated by people. And then Gordon, too, I've said this too, is like, he's bigger in real life than I think he's going to be. He seems smaller to me, but I think he was like 6'2", just like a presence about him, and it just feels very surreal being there and like having him yell and like, I mean, you don't want him to be yelling at you, but then you get so close to everybody else. And so he's yelling at everybody and you can hear him yelling on the other side. But I think after we finished, it's like, I'm thinking there's no way we won that challenge. I felt like he was over on our side yelling at us the entire time. So I feel like, Blue Team must have been crazy because I feel like we were getting railed the entire time we were cooking. And so then watching back, I mean, you're just shocked. Because then we're walking back and I remember whispering to Colby, I'm like, Colby, they look more upset than we do. Like, how is that possible? And then we kind of break through lunch. You can't talk. You sit in silence, you eat, and then go right back to selling. And I mean, yeah, that was an emotional day. That was when we lost Ryan. And Ryan is a good one. I mean, he's so sweet. Like he's so sweet. And I mean, I'm sure you remember you do watch Ryan's story.
I watch all the stories, but remind me.
So Ryan is cooking at keto on Instagram. He has changed his lifestyle now. He eats a keto diet. Used to be, and we'll talk about it on Instagram. He mentioned this on the show. He had struggled with addiction in the past. He was just not living a healthy lifestyle. He's like, I wasn't a good person. And so you kind of, I mean, like you just fall in love with Ryan from the very start. I mean, because now it's like he's so healthy and he was always like rubbing beef tallow on himself and like doing yoga. I mean, everywhere we went, like, he's just very authentically himself. And so like losing Ryan that day was really hard. I mean, I think for everybody, because too, I mean, he's amazing and he got there by making steak and eggs. I mean, his thing is steak and eggs. And he does really beautiful stuff with it. I mean, now he's doing like private dinners from his house and it's like, he grows all of his herbs and he raises the chickens and it's all like so beautiful, but that was just hard. And he was telling me Ryan doesn't say a lot and he was upset.
Yeah, he and I have actually messaged back and forth. I am trying to get him on the podcast. It's only ladies for some reason for MasterChef thus far for the podcast, but Ryan and I have been messaging back and forth. I think I actually got his attention because I run a weight loss site and like a healthy eating site. So I think he was like, wait. So but
yeah,
I would
kind of a tough egg for prep. I told him, I'm like, I've spent a lot of time with you and I still feel like I really don't know you that well,
Oh.
Like, he's just like, there's something very endearing about him. Like he's
sorry about that. And then the last one I want to talk about is, and I have a lot of questions going around, the Birds of a Feather mystery box episode. I know. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And then, I have some specific questions.
Yeah. So that one was the chicken challenge. We had a whole chicken. Going into it, I was another mystery box. We had to split the chicken, which was good. Like, it was fine. Our team, there were 5 of us. And the South both have 5 left, whereas the what group had, trying to remember.
I think though I remember I spoke with Lizzie and the West had just 3, I think.
Yes, and then
Or
the Northeast, I think they just, was it just Brandon Bloodweed left?
there might have been one more
Oh,
person, but I'd have to go back and look.
and
Yes.
Nina. There were 3 left. And so we're like, okay, they just got to split this one shake between 3 of them. We got to split by 5. And Jennifer had taken 10 minutes for our group. And I remember like chatting about that. It's like everybody was upset because we had just won the challenge the day before. And Jennifer got a ton of hate this season. And Jennifer is an angel. I mean, she's so sweet. I was clearly upset when I had to go home that day, but like nothing against Jennifer. Like I would have done the same thing. I mean, you're there to win. There's 5 left on both of our teams. She chose our team. So we got in, that was an hour-long challenge. So she took 10 minutes from us, and then we have 15 minutes. And then we had to meet and discuss. Once our 50 minutes started, we had to huddle together, decide who was going to take what, who was going to, break down the chicken to separate it. Wayne broke it down, and Wayne did a great job. Wayne's a good cook. Wayne. But Wayne did a great job, broke it down. Then we just start stopping. So as soon as I got chicken on the middle, I know what I'm gonna make. I have plans to make a risotto, a chicken roulade. Typically, when I do any sort of roulade at home, like with chicken, I'll boil it wrapped in saran wrap. And like that's gonna take 20 minutes. And then afterwards, I don't have time for that. To the only our ingredients, and I think once we get back, it's like we've got like 38 minutes left, and I'm just like, there's not gonna be enough time. And so instead of a risotto, I need like a little side salad. My chicken roulade, I had to do it in the pan, so I tied it up, put it in the pan. Was not reading fully cooked on the inside. I'm trying to get it done to let it rest, and I just overcooked it on the outside. I mean, and that was timing. It was my mistake. I probably should have still tried to do boiling. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done differently. I mean, I don't have any regrets. I'm just, I wish I had gotten to the cake challenge because I'm a baker. But besides that, like, I mean, I was sad to go home, but I was excited to come home and see my family because I've been gone for 5 weeks at that point.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. One question was, you kind of looked like mad when the judges walked away after they looked at your chicken roulade. And just getting to know you here, I can't even imagine that you were mad, but that's what it looked like. Can you tell me what you were feeling at that moment, if you can remember?
Yeah, so I mean, like, again, I think one of the cons was I'm looking around, and I'm at that point I wasn't thinking like mine's the worst dish. Like overall, but I'm also not thinking. I'd also learning like, am I gonna be in the bottom for my region? Because it's like you're kind of a team, but you're either gonna be the best out of your region and be in the top 3, or you're gonna be the worst, or you're just gonna be nothing. And so I'm like, okay, well, hopefully I'm just not in the bottom. At that point, I still was like, and still, I mean, I don't look back and think, oh, that looks horrible. Like that looks disgusting. I wouldn't eat it. And I mean, they said that too, and that made me feel better because I'm like, this was a timing issue. It wasn't, I can't cook. And so that helped me too when I was eliminated. I think at that point I'm just kind of looking around like, I don't know who would be in the top or bottom. Really, none of the dishes really look horrible. And sometimes they're blatantly bad, and you're like, yeah, that's hopefully I'm going up to the top of that one. But I mean, you just really have no idea. And I was totally not expecting it because I was looking around. I'm like, okay, my chicken's a little overcooked, but also, hopefully got me through, like, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to remember too what I was thinking because I feel like I had no idea. And I remember having kind of like a gut feeling that like, I'm just not feeling great, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know that feeling. Well, tell me what it was like, in that moment after you've been eliminated. Was there like a, yay, I get to see my family? Was there disappointment? Was there relief? What did that feel like to you?
So at first, I was upset. I mean, like while they were doing elimination, then Gorby and I got eliminated at the same time, which kind of makes you feel like better. You're like, okay, it's not just all on me right now, but then also like neither of our dishes were just atrocious. And I think that's really hard, is like when you don't just totally ruin it, totally just like F it up, you know? I think that was a little bit harder because I still felt like good about it. I'm like, okay, that wasn't, like you're kind of open, like, okay, well, hopefully it wasn't bad enough to go home. Um, and so like when they ask me, like that's they show that with the judges. And I think they may say on their lip, he says, like, you can blame Jennifer for your elimination. And then it's like, say goodbye, and I'm hugging Jennifer, and I'm upset. But also, that I don't blame Jennifer for my elimination. And like, I just feel like, like, and I don't really care about that kind of stuff either. Like, and I said, like, I feel like I'm competitive, but also like I'm pretty at ease with anything, and I wasn't relying on winning and stuff. So like for me, it was like more like I had a great time. I made like so many new friends and formed all these relationships, and the show just gave me a ton of confidence in myself. Because you just kind of have to go with it. And I had never been like on TV. I'd never done anything like that. So I was upset to leave. And in my interview right after, they're like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, I am like upset. Of course, I don't want to go home, but I'm so excited to see my boys. Like I just couldn't wait because I had seen Jordan and Grammy like 2 weeks in for the live auditions for like a week, kind of. I mean, I saw him like on set, but then I hadn't seen my son Warner in almost 5 weeks. And I have literally been with him every day since he was born. So that was really hard for me. I mean, like, even while Jordan was there, I mean, I was emotional. I was all over the place. I'm like, I'm missing Warner. I'm having like total like an identity crisis. Like, why am I here? Like, some of these people are amazing. So I think it was just like a whole dump of emotions when I got eliminated too. It was like, oh, this is over, like it's over for me. Like, I'm not going to do it again. And then also, like, I'm so excited to go home and be in my bed and see my family and be with my cats. Like, it was just like a whole mix.
Oh, I totally get it. You also mentioned that you had a lot of new things to make or to show your family that you had learned or you had, grown from on the show. What have you been making recently at home that maybe you picked up from the show or you were inspired from being on the show to do?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that too was like I said, the confidence. It's like there were so many things that like I just had never tried before. And I would always like before it's like I'd read recipes, I like try and follow recipes. And now I just feel like I'm so much more like a free cook. Like I just kind of like trust my intuition. I feel more secure in the fact that like I know what I'm doing. Like I know flavors. Since the show, I've been making like a lot. I've been trying like so many more like fully homemade things. Like so, I've done homemade pasta a bunch of times. Made ravioli, like, and I kind of joke on one of my posts. It's like I made the homemade toasted ravioli, and I'm like, if you're looking for like an appetizer that's gonna take you 4 hours, this is the one for you because it's like it takes so long, but it's so fun to be like, I just totally made that from scratch ingredients. Um, and then like homemade dumplings is Warner's favorite food. And so he's so funny because before I left the show, he was a chicken nugget eating 5-year-old. Like he was eating chicken nuggets, he was eating smoothies, fruit. After I came back, he went like, I'm like, what do you guys have? And Warner's like, we had a lot of breakfast for dinner while you were gone. And it's like Jordan's a great cook. He has like multiple things that are like his meals, but like I'm our family's cook. And so now Warner has become like such a little foodie. Like he will eat anything. He's really into sushi. He loves dumplings. And so he asked, he's like, can we have gyoza as my birthday party appetizer? And I'm like, well, Warner, I don't know that the other 6-year-old has their I think as your birthday appetizer and you're sick. Like I was thinking hot dogs, we'll have a pool party, like. But it's been so fun because he would just eat anything now, and he asks to help in the kitchen, and like that's been so fun for me because before he just wasn't interested, like wouldn't try stuff. So I do a lot of times where Warner will like give me ratings and reviews, and he's very specific. His rating scale doesn't quite make sense. It's usually like 160 million or like 8. And you're like, what is this wheel? But it's been like just so fun to watch on Sci Foods and stuff. So I think that's been like a huge blessing too since being on the show. It was like Warner's just followed in my footsteps as far as like being a foodie.
I love that you guys are bonding over food. That's like I'm just gonna try not to cry right now. It's so sweet.
It really is. It's been like so fun. And like everybody will joke. They're like, okay, that kid needs a TV show because he's so funny and just like outgoing and like fully himself. And I just love that. Like, I love that he's embracing.
Well, hey, maybe he should do MasterChef Kids and you can be the parent there with him and it would be kind of full circle.
I mentioned it to him. I'm like, and then he'll say, like, I think Gordon would like this one. You know, like, they'll make like little jokes. So I told him, I'm like, do you want to go on MasterChef Junior? I'm like, I'll be a bit of a brat and
That would be so much fun to watch. Wow.
And he's got a
Oh,
little girl actually at his school that was on MasterChef Junior. And
no.
so, and he's at like a smaller private school. And so like for the one of the, we just had our gala and her name was Molly. And so Molly and I auctioned off a couple of like MasterChef dinners. So that's been super fun too.
Oh, wow, that's so cute. Um, I am so impressed by you, Sarah. You are such an amazing storyteller. You're so much fun to chat with and to watch, and you've made my job so easy in this interview.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh no, thank you. What are you doing now? Where can we watch you? Do you have any shows coming up? What are your social media handles? All of that, just so that people can find you and hire you or watch you.
So as far as hiring, I'm not like I've never wanted to have like a restaurant or be a show. When I was like doing auditions and stuff, I always thought I was like I would love to be like a personality. Like I would love to teach people how to make like healthy, nutritious, delicious meals for their family and like make it simple and fun. And so I'm not doing anything cooking related. I still cook for my family. I do work with like a couple of like local restaurants and do like giveaways and stuff like that. Just stuff that I love. Like I try and promote. I do like social media stuff. I work for a couple of companies and do social media stuff. So I do love that. I mean, I'm a big social media girl. I am Mrs. Sarah Fry, MRSSARAHFRY on everything. And that's it. I mean, I'm cooking for my family and that's like what I love to do. You know, like that's my I always say I'm living my dream. Like I love it. I love what I'm doing.
I love to hear that. It's so great. And thank you so, so much. Do you feel like there's anything else that you wanted to share or any tips for maybe people going on the next season of MasterChef or words of
I would
wisdom?
say like the biggest thing that I tell people is like when we started out in LA and there were 80 or 90 of us, you go through like these practice runs where you do like you go in the practice kitchen and you cook and they watch you and they, ask you questions and stuff like that. So they get comfortable doing more than one thing at once. I think I could have focused on that more. And then they also take you, and this is what I heard the most complaints about, is that they take you and do like practice interviews. And a lot of people struggle with that. And that is something that like comes more naturally to me. And so I wasn't anxious about that at all, but I think a lot of people are like being in front of a camera, you're by yourself, and they'll edit out the questions. So it's just like you talking to a camera. So I think that's something that like people need to make sure they're comfortable with before you like go on a TV show, because a lot of people I think were eliminated from the live audition process because they weren't comfortable in front of a camera.
Yeah, so get your camera work done or even just video yourself at home talking, talking, talking. Yeah, those are some really great tips. Well, I would love to have you come back with some of the other contestants from your season of MasterChef. So maybe either we can run through some stuff about season 13 or even chat about season 14 because it's coming out.
I love that. I know, I'm so excited. And it's funny, I had never seen the show before. And now I'm like, I can't wait for the next season.
Oh, that's so great. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for making time out of your busy schedule and for showing up and for being such an amazing storyteller here with all of us.
I had a great time. You're easy to talk to. And this
Oh,
was
it's so are you.
yes, I
Well,
hope to be back. Hopefully with some of the other members.
I would love that. So everyone listening or watching, make sure to check the show notes. I'll make sure to put all of Sarah's social media stuff in there so you can easily find her and stay tuned for the next episode of Who's Reality Cooking. Bye.